When you really think about it, living past 100 isn't some lottery ticket you win. It's not about being lucky or having perfect genetics. The oldest doctors in Japan have seen it firsthand. Longevity is the direct result of daily habits, especially what you put on your plate. If genes were everything, then entire families would automatically live long lives. But we know that's not the case. What really matters is the environment you create inside your body every single day. The truth is, your body is constantly responding to the fuel you give it, repairing, restoring, or if you choose poorly, breaking down faster than it should. That's why these doctors insist that it's not about chance, it's about consistent choices. The people who thrive into their 90s and 100s aren't relying on luck. They've built a lifestyle where their food becomes their medicine, their energy, and their protection against aging. In Japan, there are places known as blue zones, Okinawa being one of the most famous, where people don't just live longer, they live better. You'll see men and women in their late 90s still walking to the market, still working in their gardens, still playing with their grandchildren. They don't spend their later years confined to a bed or weighed down by endless medications. Instead, they age with energy, clarity, and purpose. And what's striking is that this isn't an exception, it's normal there. Researchers and doctors studying these regions realize that the secret isn't hidden in some expensive medical treatment. It's woven into their daily lives, especially the foods they eat and the way they eat them. Their meals are not loaded with processed ingredients or sugary drinks. Instead, they're simple, balanced, and deeply nourishing. This daily pattern, passed down through generations, creates an environment in the body that slows aging, strengthens immunity, and preserves vitality well past the age where most people in the world begin to decline. What's fascinating is how incredibly simple their approach really is. There's no obsession with counting calories, no complicated diet plans, no chasing after the latest health trend. The foods they rely on are basic, whole, and natural things that come directly from the earth or the sea. And yet, these simple foods carry a powerful nutrient profile that the body instantly knows how to use. Seaweed, for example, is loaded with trace minerals that support thyroid function. Vegetables grown in mineral-rich soils supply antioxidants that protect cells from damage. Small portions of fish provide omega-3s that keep the heart and brain young. Nothing about this is extreme, it's just consistent simplicity. And that's the key most people overlook. While much of the world is drowning in processed foods and quick fixes, these long-lived Japanese communities thrive on a foundation of foods so ordinary that they almost seem too obvious, yet they are exactly what gives the body the raw materials to rebuild, repair, and extend life far beyond the average. Another thing that stands out is how they approach food with balance, not excess. In many parts of the world, people eat until they're stuffed, overloading the digestive system and spiking insulin over and over again. But in Japan, especially in these long-lived communities, they practice something called hara-hachai-bu, eating until you're about 80% full. That small shift makes a massive difference. It reduces the constant stress on the body, lowers inflammation, and prevents the metabolic damage that comes from overeating. When you stop eating before you feel heavy, you allow your body to use what you've given it efficiently instead of storing it as fat or letting it turn into toxins. This habit alone stabilizes energy, protects organs, and keeps weight naturally under control without dieting. It's not starvation, it's wisdom, because they understand that longevity isn't about constantly feeding the body more. It's about giving it just enough of the right fuel so it can run smoothly for decades. What makes their diet even more powerful is the specific foods they choose to include every single day. We're talking about vegetables packed with phytonutrients, seaweed rich in iodine and trace minerals, green tea loaded with antioxidants that fight free radical damage, fermented foods like miso and natto that feed the gut microbiome, and fish that supply clean protein and omega-3 fatty acids to keep the heart and brain functioning at their best. These aren't trendy superfoods, they're staples that have been part of their culture for centuries. Each one works at a cellular level, reducing inflammation, supporting digestion, protecting arteries, and fueling the brain. The combination is what's remarkable. When you eat vegetables, seaweed, green tea, fermented foods, and omega-3 rich fish regularly, you're not just filling your stomach, you're actively programming your body to age slower, stay leaner, and resist disease. It's a nutritional defense system that quietly works behind the scenes, adding years of health to your life. The real magic happens inside the body at the cellular level. These foods don't just keep you full, they actually change the way your cells function. They fuel the mitochondria, which are like little engines inside every cell that generate energy. When the mitochondria are strong, you feel energized, your brain stays sharp, and your muscles recover faster. On top of that, the antioxidants from their diet go in and neutralize free radicals, those unstable molecules that damage DNA and accelerate aging. By protecting the cells and giving them the right fuel, the body stays in a constant state of repair rather than decline. Imagine your cells working like a well-maintained engine, clean and efficient, instead of a rusty one that's breaking down with every passing year. That's the difference these everyday foods make. They extend the life of your cells, which in turn extends the quality years of your life. Another powerful effect of their way of eating is how it keeps blood sugar and insulin in check. Most people today are on a roller coaster, spiking their insulin with bread, sugar, and processed foods, then crashing and feeling drained, craving more, and repeating the cycle. Over time, that constant spike and crash wears the body out, leading to weight gain, diabetes, and accelerated aging. But in these Japanese long-living communities, because their meals are built on vegetables, healthy proteins, and fermented foods instead of refined carbs, they avoid that constant insulin overload. Their energy stays stable throughout the day, their brain functions smoothly, and their bodies don't get stuck in fat-storing mode. When insulin is balanced, your body can burn fat efficiently, reduce inflammation, and protect the brain from cognitive decline. That one simple shift, eating foods that keep insulin stable, is one of the biggest reasons they can maintain their vitality far longer than most people in the modern world. What's also incredible is how much this way of eating supports the mind just as much as the body. These foods don't just nourish your muscles, heart, and immune system, they fuel the brain. Omega-3s from fish strengthen the connections between brain cells. Fermented foods improve gut health, which directly impacts mood and cognition, and antioxidants from vegetables and green tea protect neurons from oxidative stress that leads to memory loss. That's why you see people in these Japanese communities staying mentally sharp well into their 90s and 100s. They're not just alive, they're present, engaged, laughing, and thinking clearly. Compare that to the growing problem in many countries where people lose their memory, their focus, and their independence as they age. The difference is clear. When you consistently feed your brain the right nutrients, you reduce the risk of dementia and cognitive decline, and you hold on to the sharpness and clarity that make life meaningful, no matter how old you are. Another reason their diet is so effective is because it's loaded with protective nutrients that act like a shield for the body. The omega-3 fatty acids in fish help keep arteries flexible, lowering the risk of heart problems. The fermented foods strengthen the immune system by feeding the good bacteria in the gut, which control inflammation and defend against illness. Seaweed supplies iodine and minerals that support thyroid health and metabolism. Vegetables and green tea flood the body with antioxidants that protect joints, skin, and even DNA from breakdown. Every single bite works like an investment, building layers of defense that make the body more resilient year after year. This is why they don't just live longer, they live with less disease, less pain, and less degeneration. Their food is literally working as daily medicine, protecting the heart, strengthening the immune system, preserving mobility, and giving them the ability to enjoy life long after most people have started to slow down. The most important truth that Japanese doctors emphasize is this: your future health, your energy levels, even your ability to live to 100 with vitality doesn't come from one big decision. It comes from the small, repeated choices you make every single day. Every bite of food you take is either speeding up aging or slowing it down. Every meal is either draining your energy or fueling your cells, and this is where most people get it wrong. They think longevity is something you worry about when you're older, something you'll fix later. But by the time most people are in their 60s or 70s, the damage is already built up. The secret these doctors are trying to tell us is that the earlier you begin, the more powerful the effect. Longevity isn't built overnight, it's built meal by meal, choice by choice, over years. Think about it. Your body is literally made of what you eat. Your skin, your blood, your bones, your muscles, even your brain tissue, all of it is constantly being rebuilt using the raw materials you give it through food. If you eat junk, processed sugar, refined oils, empty calories, that's what your body has to work with. And what do you get? Weak tissues, clogged arteries, brittle bones, foggy thinking, and fatigue. But if you eat nutrient-rich, whole, living foods, the kind of foods the Japanese have relied on for generations, your body uses those materials to build stronger cells, healthier organs, and a more resilient brain. It's like building a house. If you build with cheap, weak materials, the walls crack, the roof leaks, and the structure collapses quickly. But if you build with strong, durable materials, that house stands solid for decades, even through storms. Your body is the same. Every meal is a brick. Every bite is part of the structure. Over time, those choices add up to either a strong, resilient body that lasts you to 100, or a body that breaks down long before its time. And here's something fascinating. When researchers looked at centenarians in Japan, people over 100 years old, they found a remarkable pattern. Their bodies didn't look like the bodies of people in their 70s in other countries. Their arteries were clearer, their bones denser, their muscles stronger, their minds sharper. Why? Because for decades, their small daily choices had created an environment of repair rather than destruction. They weren't waiting until they got sick to fix their diet. They had been preventing the sickness all along, with every plate of food. Now, this is where you have to really pay attention. Most people sabotage themselves not because they don't know what's healthy, but because they underestimate the power of consistency. They think, oh, one sugary drink won't matter, one fast food meal won't matter, one skipped day of eating healthy won't matter, and yes, one day may not destroy your health. But multiply that by hundreds of days, thousands of meals over decades, and that's exactly how health declines. On the flip side, one healthy choice, one nutrient-dense meal, one day of balance may not make you feel like a superhero instantly, but multiply that by years, and suddenly you've built a body that defies aging. This is why the Japanese doctors say longevity is not a secret pill, not a crash diet, not some magic supplement. It's daily commitment. It's asking yourself at each meal, am I feeding disease or am I feeding health? Am I aging faster or slower with what I'm about to eat? That awareness alone can transform your future. Let's go even deeper into why these choices matter so much. Food doesn't just affect your weight. It programs your hormones, your metabolism, your brain chemistry, your immune response. If you constantly feed yourself processed sugar, you're programming your insulin to spike and crash, which accelerates fat storage and weakens your cells. If you give your body healthy fats from fish, olive oil, or nuts, you're programming your brain to stay sharp and your joints to stay lubricated. If you give your gut fermented foods and fiber, you're programming your microbiome to reduce inflammation and protect you against disease. Food is literally code. It tells your body what to do, and when you repeat those signals daily, your body builds a future based on those instructions. Now, here's the real challenge. We live in a world where unhealthy food is everywhere, cheap, fast, and tempting. It's easy to say, I'll just eat this now and fix it later, but later doesn't come. Later turns into habits, habits turn into disease, and disease shortens your life. The Japanese elders show us that the opposite is also true. Small healthy habits, repeated consistently, become a lifestyle, and that lifestyle builds resilience that carries you effortlessly into your 90s and 100s. They don't live long because of luck. They live long because of discipline. And here's something powerful. When you start making those small daily choices, the benefits show up much faster than you think. Within weeks of reducing sugar and processed food, your insulin sensitivity improves, your energy stabilizes, your sleep deepens. Within months of eating vegetables, seaweed, and omega-3 rich fish regularly, your inflammation goes down, your skin improves, your digestion strengthens. Within years of staying consistent, your arteries remain clear, your joints stay mobile, your memory sharpens, and your body doesn't fall apart the way most people expect it to. That's the compound effect of consistent choices. It's like investing in your health account every single day, and over time, the interest grows until you're reaping the rewards of decades of good decisions. Let's be honest, aging is inevitable. None of us can stop time. But how you age is almost entirely up to you. Will you age like most people, tired, dependent, sick, in pain? Or will you age like those Japanese centenarians, vibrant, independent, laughing with your grandchildren, still living life fully even past 100? The difference is in the small, consistent, daily choices. And I know what some people might be thinking, but it's hard. Healthy food is more effort. It takes planning. It doesn't taste as exciting as junk food. And that's true in the beginning, because your taste buds and your brain are addicted to sugar, processed flavors, and instant gratification. But here's the amazing thing, your body adapts. When you start eating whole, natural foods consistently, your taste buds change. Vegetables start tasting sweeter, fermented foods start tasting satisfying, clean fish or broth feels nourishing in a way fast food never can. The cravings for junk shrink, the energy from real food grows, and suddenly it doesn't feel like discipline anymore. It feels like freedom. Freedom from cravings, freedom from energy crashes, freedom from the slow decline that steals life away from so many people. That's the deeper message these Japanese doctors are trying to tell the world. Freedom and vitality aren't found in a pill bottle or a hospital. They're built every day in your kitchen, on your plate, in the choices you make about what goes into your body. The power is in your hands 3 times a day, every single day. Think about how empowering that is. You don't have to wait for someone to save you. You don't have to depend on expensive medical systems or treatments. You already hold the key in the simplest, most ordinary actions, choosing vegetables instead of processed snacks, choosing green tea instead of soda, choosing a balanced meal instead of overeating. These choices don't just add years to your life, they add life to your years. And that's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Not just to live to 100, but to live to 100 with energy, independence, joy, and clarity, to still be able to walk, to play, to laugh, to contribute. To look back and realize you didn't just extend your lives, and you extended your health span. You lived fully, right until the end. So the question becomes, what will you do today? Will you continue the same routine that drains you, that accelerates aging, that builds disease over time? Or will you start making small, consistent choices that stack up into decades of vitality? The Japanese doctors have shown us the path. It's simple, it's proven, it's within reach. The only thing left is your decision. So when you step back and look at everything the oldest doctors in Japan have taught us, it becomes crystal clear longevity isn't an accident, it's a strategy. It's not reserved for the lucky few with good genes. It's available to anyone willing to make the right choices day after day. Your body is incredibly intelligent. It knows how to heal, how to restore, how to protect you, but only if you give it the right fuel. The people who reach 100 with vitality aren't relying on chance. They're living proof that small, simple, consistent habits create extraordinary results over time. And the truth is, you have that same opportunity starting right now. Every plate of food is a decision. Every meal is a vote for the future version of yourself. If you want to live not just long, but strong, independent, and full of energy, the power is in your hands. Choose wisely today, and your body will thank you for decades to come.